welcome to Holy Moses Take a Look, the podcast about terrible books. I'm Sheena St. James, joined as always by my lovely assistant, Paul.
Ah!
Oh my god!
Ghost!
He's been doing this shit for like 20 minutes.
No, that's an overstatement. It's more
Not
like
much.
This is like behind the scenes shop talk. Like I was mucking around before recording because I'm very pleased with the sound of my voice. So
Well, who wouldn't be?
yeah. So if anyone remembers Casper the Friendly Ghost, the cartoon version, not the live action film, you might have a little nostalgic flicker, unless I've remembered it entirely wrong. You know, your homework this week, not book related. Go and find an episode of that, and have yourself a laugh riot, because it's yeah. I don't even remember if it was quality television. It's been like nearly 2 decades since I last watched it. I'm going way off base. We're reading chapter 15 and 16 of Irene Iddesleigh by Amanda
right.
McKittrick Ross.
We are doing that.
How's that for professional podcasting? We kind of missed a week last week because we are
reasons.
Yeah, we are sad and hard. We find it difficult to maintain commitments when we are sad.
Yeah. Also, we're at different time zones, so it makes things that much more difficult.
8 hours, more like hate hours.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, as Paul said, we're reading 15 and 16. Next week we'll be doing 17 and 18, and then we'll be finishing off chapter 19. And we'll still be done just in time for Halloween, so that we can do the Eye of Argon. And that'll be a special episode.
Riddle me this. What happened last time?
Okay, so last episode, rather, not last week. So Irene and Marjorie had run away from Dunfern Castle, and they'd run away to go live with Oscar. And Oscar, for some reason, did not go back to work. They just kind of stuck around, and he was like, oh, maybe I can be a tutor, and everyone was like, nah.
Yeah.
So no one hired him, and so they moved away. He sold his house, and they moved away to New York, of all places, and got married.
Wasn't he... I mean, that's like the best thing for it when you've got like barely any money. Like fucking...
I know, New York fucking city.
Yeah.
One of the most expensive cities on the planet to live in.
Yeah,
it probably wasn't at the time, but
it's funny to think about in retrospect that was what they considered their best option.
I know.
You know? Not like
it's like don't move to France, move to fucking New York.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Did I understand correctly that the reason he didn't go back to work was that he didn't want to like put himself within John Dunfern's like grasp or whatever? Or,
I think so. Like his boss knew John Dunfern.
Okay.
They were exchanging correspondence because he was like, hey, where the hell is this Oscar Otwell asshole? And he was just like, Oscar hasn't been showing up to work. I gave him time off.
That's an awfully like flimsily constructed
I know.
approach.
It's pretty lame. It's very loosey-goosey, but anyway, so they're married now. They are married now.
But they are poor because... No, they are sad because they are poor, though.
Well, it says they ended to that distant land where strife is a stranger, so who can say?
But wasn't that like a point of contention that Irene was having to adjust to life outside of Dunfern Castle? Yeah.
It was kind of, but it's like we can't really apply logic to this book.
Yeah.
It's kind of... It's sort of hard to foresee what's supposed to be happening. Especially since they keep calling her Lady Dunfern.
Yeah, it's still, after all this time, like, even in the wedding.
I know.
Even in the fucking wedding scene.
Her wedding to someone else. They call her Lady Dunfern. I'm like, what the heck?
I mean,
Stop it!
It ties in with this whole purity of marriage thing that Amanda McKittrick Ross has got going on, where, like, early in the book, like, the author is, like, fucking vicious.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, she's not being, like, entirely faithful to John Dunfern despite him being a complete asshole.
Yeah.
She's obviously a terrible woman, but...
she calls her, like, evil and wicked and everything else.
It's like, all she did was have, like, feelings for someone else.
Right. That she had been with before.
Yeah, that she had like a connection to before, and it wasn't like properly explained to us. The relationship between the two, and it wasn't really explained very well. Like I don't know. I don't understand John Dunfern at all.
I really don't either.
Amanda has not done a very good job of like describing his motivations, because all of her language just obfuscates all meaning, to the point where this whole exercise is rendered tortuous.
Yeah.
Yeah, blissfully though, we're only 4 chapters away from sealing the deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, sure. Okay, chapter 15. Now, as always, this is a blind read. I have not read ahead.
So if our jokes are shit, you know why.
Yeah. So any reactions I have will be genuine. So, chapter 15. The wealthy, the haughty, and the noble must alike taste of disappointment. Well, I know whenever I taste these people, I'm disappointed.
Wait. Must taste of what?
Must alike.
Amanda McKittrick Ross confirmed for cannibal.
See, if they taste alike of disappointment, I guess you could make that work. But to taste of something means to taste like something, so I don't know. They court ideas whilst surrounded with bountiful store, to be fostered and fed with heaven-bordered hopes, which nothing save denial could thwart. The meek, the humble, the poor share equally in its visitation, and learn not to frown at its unwelcome intrusion, while they bear the load of blighted hopes with unshrinking modesty.
This is like...
continuing in the grand tradition that she has, Amanda McKittrick Ross has begun this chapter with the first paragraph full of bullshit.
Yeah, I tell you, I've not missed this.
Yeah.
I've not missed the kind of like philosophical meanderings.
Well, pseudo-philosophical.
Yeah, but like you can tell that she's trying to, provide wit and whimsy, but
she's trying to be deep.
Really, she just says nothing.
Yeah. I, for one, am very excited to get to the Eye of Argon, because that's going to be bad in a whole different way.
It's exciting.
At Dunford Mansion, matters seemed at a standstill, since that Christmas day which began with such sunshine and ended with such misery. Energy had fled from the able-bodied staff of servants who occupied its rooms of plentiful repast. Each and all of them seemed as if death had entered their midst and snapped from amongst them their sole support. Was it because of Rachel Hyde's hasty departure? No! They had now no domineering influence of petticoat power to check their honest actions or words, no eyes of dreaded terror viewing through spectacles of sin their little faults, and submitting them in exaggerated form to the ear of him who now lay so dangerously ill, no false face masked in brazen mold, nor tongue of touchy cut to divide their friendship.
This is... So, Rachel Hyde was a witch.
Was an asshole.
Yeah. See, this is the kind of characterization we could have used, because...
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing, Amanda keeps providing, well, I nearly said good characterization, but she doesn't give her characters much in the way of a personality, and when she does, it's always in a reported sense and never in their actions, especially. But when Rachel Hyde is at her worst, going along with John Dunfern's,
evil bullshit.
Yeah, and basically imprisoning Irene for a year. We don't get...
Yeah.
At first I thought it was just her going along kind of meekly, just kind of saying, Well, John knows best, and I am in his employ. I thought it was that kind of relationship.
See, I didn't think that at all. I thought it was just, she was just a sadistic asshole. Like, she was a fucking sicko.
Well.
Because she seemed all too eager to let that be the case. Like, she'd be, like, spreading rumors and all that shit. Even before he locked Irene up in the death room.
Maybe I've kind of... I don't know.
I mean, it's easy to gloss over shit like that because the prose is so purple.
It's not even the case of it being purple. It's just bad. You can have entertaining purple prose, but just like I said before, just everything, all the meaning just gets obfuscated.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, though.
Yeah, but I view purple prose as just kind of like overly florid, you know.
Oh no! Purple prose is a lot more than that. It's when it's florid, yeah, but it's just when you use too many words to say far too little. You know, it's this kind of pretentious bullshit. Like the whole first paragraph.
Something can still be fun to read as a result of that, but this is just dry and clunky and cumbersome. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm completely distracted, however, by spectacles of sin.
Yeah.
Because that's my glasses.
Yeah, you got like little devil horns on them.
Oh yeah.
Like the horned rims, like librarian glasses.
Yeah. Only they literally have horns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Spectacles of sin. Okay. Rachel Hyde, whose word, nay look, was law, was driven from the presence of him who too long was blind to her false approaches, and who always treated her with more leniency and consideration than she really deserved. Never again to mount a pinnacle of trust and truth, or share in the confidence of such a just and true specimen of humanity as Sir John Dunfern. Oh my god, are we really praising John Dunfern again? That son of a bitch is not deserving of it. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
She had been made to reap the crops of cunning falsehood, sow and so often the fields of honor and true worth, and pocket the result of their flimsy income. God, I hate these stupid, labored metaphors. She, by her long service of artifice, had scattered the seeds of skepticism so thickly around the corners of harmony, goodwill, and peace, as to almost defy their speedy removal. But time would swamp their silent growth and supplant in their stead roots of integrity, justice, and benevolence. She had at last been cast on the mercy of a world of icy indifference to facts of long standing, and made to taste of the stagnant waters of pity which flung their muddy drops of rancid rascality on the face of dogmatic dread, until, crushed underneath their constant clash, she yielded her paltry right to him whose order must never be obeyed. What? That was like a whole bunch of nothing. It's like, we get it. She was a lying jerk, so they got rid of her. But like, that's... You didn't have to take so damn long to say it. Jesus. Tom Hepworth, whose absence was partly the cause of sorrow within the breasts of his fellow workers in Dunfern Mansion, was much to be pitied. He was the very soul of honor, and was likely respected by all who knew him. In his presence every care vanished like snow and sunshine. The pitiful look that shot from the eye of the downtrodden in Rachel Hyde's presence was thrown aside when Tom appeared. He acted as a father and friend on all occasions where trouble reigned supreme, and never failed to hear the light laugh of youth proceed from its hidden bed, where it too often reposed untouched.
Who's Tom Hepworth again?
He was the coach driver. He got fired for bullshit reasons. I think, like, he forgot to put the outside key away before going to bed.
Oh, no.
So he got fired, even though he had been working for Dunfern for fucking ever.
Yeah, John Dunfern's an asshole because, like, fired long...
Such a dick.
Like, he's losing his mind over this Irene Iddesleigh bullshit. Like...
Yeah.
It's like, it's your own fucking fault for driving her away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could have, like, resolved this amicably and with understanding and grace and class, And what do? You fire some of your most beloved employees and lose your shit at them, and suddenly they are unforgivable in your eyes because like you just couldn't keep cool about it. And he's still being praised as like a fucking like saint, and by the author. We're supposed to empathize with him. The book's not even named after him.
Tom Hepworth, whose race was nearly run when leaving Dunfern Mansion, took refuge in the home of Mrs. Durand, his sister, who lived only a short distance from where he had spent more than a third part of his existence.
Third part of it? Just say...
Yeah.
Just say how long it's been. Don't make...
Or just say for so long.
Yeah, just don't make us do math. We don't even know how old Tom Hepworth is.
I know, he could be, 50, he could be 119, we don't know. We have no fucking idea, so it's just meaningless. A few months only elapsed whilst under her roof when he was seized with a fit of apoplexy, terminating in a few hours a life of usefulness and blameless bearing. The shock of his sudden demise, when conveyed to his master, whom he revered, brought on a severe attack of hemorrhage, under which Sir John Dunfern now lay prostrate. So, Tom dies of a stroke a few months after moving in with his sister. And then hearing about this, Sir John Dunfern just starts bleeding. Like, we don't know what's an attack of hemorrhage. Because to hemorrhage means to start bleeding, but we don't know where. I mean, it could be that he had a stroke also, or he could be bleeding out his ass for all we know. We have no idea.
Unless it's like a metaphor, like a shit metaphor. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, no one behaves normally.
Do fish babies have strokes?
No one behaves normally in this fucking book. Like that whole bit where Irene comes clean about Oscar Otwell to him, and he what happens?
He goes into shock and he gets sick.
Oh yeah, he like shits himself.
And he's sick for like a month.
Yeah, it's like, and then there's like, wasn't there a thing where like Irene faints because she finds out her parents have disappeared?
Yeah, no, she doesn't even find out they've disappeared. She finds that the lights are out at their house,
and that's obviously cause for distress.
Yes.
God.
And then they're dead for some reason. They're all dead. I don't know why. Not a week passed after Lady Dunfern took up residence in Audley Hall until Sir John was informed of her whereabouts. Had her escape been effected unknown to Oscar Otwell, it would scarcely have taken such hold on the mind of him who unfortunately claimed her as his wife. But to think he had again been duped by a rascally pauper tutor...
He's still...
was a pill too difficult to swallow without being moderately reduced. Rascally.
She's really fond of calling people that.
I know.
But she in her eyes it makes them seem like unpleasant and devious. But I just think of like a tiny little Victorian orphan boy.
Oh, you rascal!
Yeah, you pat a little orphan boy on his flat cap on his head.
What?
You give him a copper. You kick him in the shins. So I'm wearing a top hat and tails. I got a cane.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
Okay, Dandy Snuff, calm down.
What?
Okay, Dandy Snuff, calm down.
Yeah, I don't know why I've characterized myself this way in this fantasy.
Alright, the troubles that visit the just are many, and of these Sir John had ample share. The just? The just? Excuse me?
Wait, what?
Are we forgetting that he locked his fucking wife in the death room? Oh, it says the troubles that visit the just are many, and of these Sir John had ample share. Yeah. What the hell? He knew when too late that he had jumped the drain of devotion with too much intensity to gain a worthless reward. Oh, fuck you.
Devotion? By pretending your wife doesn't exist for a year, and then before that failing to resolve conflict properly,
Yeah.
his notion, the author's notion of devotion is a bit perverse.
Yeah.
Like, this whole thing of, like, if I can't have her, then no one can. That's not devotion.
No, that's creepy stalker shit.
I mean, it's devotion to an idea no matter the execution, but it's not devotion in the romantic sense.
Alright, when tempted to invest in the polluted stalks of magnified extension, and when their bakes seemed swollen with rotten gear, gathered too often from the winds of willful wrong, how the misty dust blinded his sense of sight and drove him through the fields of fashion and feeble effeminacy.
Which he...
Chalk that up for another mark on internalized misogyny.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she hates women, does the author.
Oh, yes. Which he once never meant to tread, landing him on the slippery rock of smutty touch. That's me. Tag yourself on the slippery rock of smutty touch.
Oh.
To wander into its... What?
No, go on.
Okay. To wander into its hidden cavities of ancient fame.
I'm the hidden cavity.
There to remain a blinded son of injustice and unparalleled wrong. Oh, shut up. All these thoughts seized the blighted protector of the late Colonel Innesley's orphan daughter, and being gradually augmented by many others of private and public importance, rose like a tumor of superfluous matter, and burst asunder on receiving the last blow relative to poor old Tom Hepworth.
This whole...
Well, maybe he wouldn't have died if you hadn't fucked him over, dude.
This whole book is a tumor of superfluous matter.
I know! Sir John in a few weeks gradually grew stronger, oh, pity, until finally he baffled his severe illness with Christian bravery. And was once again able to keep the ball of industry moving in the direction indicated during his years of singleness, and on which he now looked back, alas, not with sorrow, but pride.
Oh god, is this going to be another one of the things where, like, time passes? What is it with, like, with time passing in this?
I don't know.
Like he can't, she can't, Amanda cannot write a scene.
No.
She doesn't write scenes. Like, she writes, it's like she's writing a historical, it's like she's writing a historical document, not a novel. Like, all the fucking time. Like, we go on about this, like, all the time, but, like, the structure of the story it doesn't make sense. We don't have a thing that flows from scene to scene. We get, like, an itinerary. And, like, now we're told that years are passing, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess we have to take your word for it that that's happening. You know? Like, the way this book is paced and the way that time passes in this book is so fucking asinine.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like, he gets better with Christian bravery. Like, if only that would fix my mum's arthritis.
Yeah. During all this trying time, however, it must be admitted that there shone one bright star of filial affection, which seemed to shoot its reflected lines of loving brightness towards him. His face always beamed with delight in return. Yes, his little son Hugh, who had been placed under the care of Madame Fulham since Lady Dunfern by her conduct could no longer fill the post of mother, had grown to be a bright child, able to totter around his nursery toys of cost and variety.
By her conduct. It's by...
Yeah, it's like, shut the hell up!
It's like, I see that tone. I see that tone, Amanda. It's
so
like,
fucking
she
preachy.
fucking escaped. You know?
Yeah.
And, like, she didn't want... she'd fainted in the arms of Marjorie and, like, didn't, well, no, hang on.
Yeah.
She didn't care about the baby, really, did she?
Well, she figured out they'll take care of the baby, it'll be fine. Which is irresponsible, but even so, she wasn't wrong.
If I'd been forced into a shit marriage, and I was expected to have a kid, and with someone I didn't love, and I had an opportunity to get rid of the fucker, speaking pragmatically, I would probably, be like, if I never have to be part of this house again, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, that probably makes me sound like a huge asshole, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're not wrong.
It's just, like, I totally... I can understand Irene feeling trapped, you know?
Yeah.
So...
Ugh.
Anyway, where were we?
He always seemed a cheerful, intelligent boy, and extremely beautiful, but inclined to be...
Of course he's fucking beautiful. Of course this boy's a fucking Mary Sue.
Well, he's half fish baby and half hand ass. Which means he's a fish ass. With fingers. That's some Cronenberg shit.
But extremely beautiful.
Yeah, but inclined to be slightly self-willed, a trait which developed itself more and more as years rolled on. At the age of 6, Sir John, abhorring the advice of his many friends to procure for him a tutor, had him sent to Canterbury High School, where he remained for a period of 5 years as boarder under the careful charge of Professor Smeeth. Is that a real name?
That sounds like a fucking Rick and Morty character.
I know. Professor Smeeth.
It sounds like something Justin Roiland would like make up like on the spot as well.
I know.
It's like, oh, come on down to Canterbury High School, and I'm your host, Professor Smeeth. I'm your head teacher, Professor Smeeth. Look at me. Hello. You know.
Oh, wait, you can eat my balls, Professor Smeeth. I don't need any of your high school shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that, like that.
Yeah. Okay. A man of the highest literary attainments, and whose exemplary training of the many youths placed under his august rule was so pronounced as to leave no room for doubt in the minds of the many parents who entrusted their respective charges to him.
Just say he's good at teaching. That's all you have to say.
Each week during this period found Sir John a visitor at Canterbury. He gave every instruction necessary to Professor Smeeth that would serve to interest his son in any way, and would strictly prohibited him from allowing any outsider, whatever, male or female, an interview with his boy, always treating with dread the wily ways of her who claimed to be once his partner and who brought a shower of her everlasting shame upon himself and child.
Wait.
He's not allowed to talk to other kids.
Wait. This is abuse.
This is abuse.
Like,
so John Dunford's a piece of shit.
And the author is still siding with him and trying to force us to empathize with him. Jesus Christ. So, because of a woman that he was involved with, who happened to have a previous relationship with someone who just happened to be a tutor, he doesn't...
He refuses to get the kid a tutor.
Yeah.
And he sends him to a school where he doesn't allow him to talk to other kids.
It's like, it's no wonder John Dunfern's as messed up as he is. I wonder if his social learning wasn't particularly great either. Because this looks like a history repeating itself. It makes me wonder what happened with like John Dunfern's upbringing. Wonder if Amanda McKittrick Ross wrote about that. That's so sad. And it's like, I'm going to impose rules on you. No, I'm going to say that you don't have a tutor, but I'm still going to impose rules on you even with that. Yeah,
even when you're at boarding school. This order had only been issued once to the stern professor, carrying out on all possible occasions any instructions received from the parents of the pupils under his control with unflinching and undeniable reliance. So this Professor Smeeth is a weak-willed coward.
Wait, what?
Who cares more about what... I mean, he does whatever the parents tell him to, because he cares more about what they think of him than about the children's education, because he's lame. That's what I'm getting.
I do find it...
Although that's probably not the intention.
I do find it weird that a 6-year-old is at a high school.
Yeah, I think high school used to mean something different.
Yeah. Bit weird, though. Funny to think about in retrospect. Bit weird.
Yeah. During these 5 years of Hugh Dunfern's instruction at Canterbury, Sir John was seen to gradually grow careless and despondent. The healthy glow of youth disappeared daily since domestic affliction entered his home. Oh, shut the fuck up. And wrote its living lines of disgust with steady hand on the brow which was now thickly marked with them. He got too much time to meditate on the immediate past. It was considered augmented by the absence of his son. Well, maybe if you didn't send him away.
Yeah, maybe if you didn't.
Stupid.
Maybe if you didn't fire your fucking valued employees. Maybe if you went outside once in a while and made friends, like played chess with some people. Maybe if you didn't alienate and imprison your fucking wife to the point where that she felt like she had to get out of there so desperately. That she left.
No, I don't feel sorry for him at all.
That she left the fucking continent to get away from you. Like, maybe you wouldn't feel so sad if you just talked to your staff once in a while.
I know. He was known to sit for hours at a time in deep and painful thought, and it was only when aroused by Madame Fulham that he ever cared to stir from his much frequented couch of rest. She, whom he appointed housekeeper in Rachel Hyde's stead, and who acted as well mother to his little son until removed to school, she extended him every attention, of which he stood in great need. After a severe attack of illness and trial, bodily and mentally.
That's...
Every attention, Not to me.
I know we're being funny, but let's face it, Sir John Dunfern hasn't had sex ever in his life.
I know.
Well...
Hugh is a result of immaculate conception.
Yeah, I mean, putting aside Hugh Dunfern, I don't think...
Even then, he probably was just a silent missionary.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a bit,
Didn't even kiss her.
Oh, God. Ugh. What? That, as much as I hate to admit, I did once watch the TV show The In-Betweeners. Yeah, it's a shit show. I mean, there'll be people who disagree with me because, but it's so relatable to my experience as a teenager. It's it's not fucking my experience being a teenager. You know, that, oh, God. Even people I know, even people whose opinion I respected who liked it were oh, but it's no, it's a shit show and it hates women. But yeah, sorry, there's a scene where the nerdy guy is the nerdy dweeby one who brings a briefcase to school for some fucking reason.
Oh.
Because apparently, it's such an embarrassing show. Sorry, I'm going to go on a tangent and just bitch about the In-Betweeners. But, it's just all these 20, 30-something idiots pretending to be, sixth form students. Awful.
Ew.
Yeah, it's so bad. Anyway, the nerdy one gets busy with a lady friend. And it's oh, I'm going to have sex. Oh. He doesn't know what he's doing. Okay. He basically planks on her. And just kind of wiggles about a bit.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I mean, right now I'm kind of tucked up in bed all snuggly and cozy, so I could demonstrate to you on webcam if I wanted, but
this is a podcast.
No, I'm talking to you when I say that.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm not, because I'm quite comfortable sat as I am. But yeah, that's how I imagine. To bring it back...
Yeah.
To bring us away from this terrible digression about television and not books. That's how I imagine John Dunfern has sex. He's just stiff. Exactly once. Stiff as a board. Wiggles about a bit.
Yeah. And somehow manages to conceive a child.
Well, yeah, it's hard. Says the guy who never wants kids.
Yeah. Alright, time rolled along until his son's return from Canterbury, whose very presence should have healed the gaping wounds his absence inflicted, and chased away all gloomy cavities from the mind of Sir John.
There's that
cavities. On the day of Hugh's homecoming after 5 years' training with Professor Smeeth, which should have been a day of gladness and rejoicing throughout Dunfern Mansion, it was only one of sadness for the heartbroken father. Oh, shut the fuck up.
How many times have we said that? It's so...
Bouncing into the room with boyish pride, Hugh ran and proudly embraced him, who, in return, stood face to face with the very image of her whom he could never again own. And thank God for that!
There's like Amanda's fucking gender politics coming in again.
Mm-hmm. Jeez, he is the worst. You know? There were the rounded forehead, aquiline nose, the hazel eyes, the nut brown hair, the ruby lips, the pearly teeth, the dimpled cheeks and tiny chin of his mother, who probably was grappling at the crumbs of pauperism. Holy shit, she has a face!
Oh,
fuck!
This is like the first... It's clumsily done, but this is the first explicit description of a person that I can recall in this book in ages.
Yeah. It's chapter 15.
And only...
out of 19.
And
this is the first real description of the protagonist that we have received.
Yeah, of like the of the eponymous like character.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, like, the author can't help but have a dig at her own character. She was probably fucking poor and shit. She was, you know, I'm talking about how beautiful she is, but she's probably, like, in a fucking gutter. Am I right, guys?
Yeah. However, Sir John manfully tried to hide from his boy the source of his grave looks, until some day of revelation would demand their blackened origin to be boldly announced to him who as of yet was solely ignorant of his mother being alive. 6 weeks' holiday passed too quickly, Hugh thought, until he would another time be compelled to quit his home of unbounded luxury and enter Chitworth College, Berks, for a further period of instruction, the length of which events alone would define. Although the very name of Chitworth College brought reminiscence of dislike to him who suffered from him who suffered so much from one of its former staff, yet those days had fled, and with them the footsteps of flaming stratagem. Being a personal friend of Professor O'Sullivan, Sir John preferred his son to reside with him and receive under his able control all the necessary acquirements devolving upon a son of such proud and distinguished race.
There's that phrase again.
Yeah. The morning at last arrived for Hugh to start on his college career, and accompanied by his father was not long in completing the journey. The interview between Sir John and his attached friend Dr. O'Sullivan was affecting in the extreme, so much so that Hugh, being an entire stranger to such outbursts of grief, and not being prepared for such emotional and silent greeting as that now witnessed by him, began to feel it impossible to refrain from joining in their sorrow. Emotional and silent greeting. I'm not 100% sure what that's supposed to mean.
Well, she's trying to get away with like not writing any dialogue. That's my. But I mean, like, you know, we get all this stuff. We're told all this shit, you know, about, you know, John's relationship with his son and him growing up and all this fucking bollocks. Not one line of dialogue in this entire chapter.
Yeah.
Not one line to give us any sense of character or give us any, like, you know, fleshed out sense of, you know, of people, or to really convey such emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute fucking bollocks.
Yeah. Throwing his youthful arms around his father's neck, he sobbed hysterically. It could only be quieted when his father again appeared cheerful.
Oh yeah,
holy shit!
That's proper silent, mate.
Leaving his son in charge of Dr. O'Sullivan, the latter retired from duty that day and begged Sir John to remain overnight, adding that he would like so much to have a chat with him over matters he had known and was persuaded to believe caused heartfelt pity to be secreted where once there dwelt heartfelt pride. To this proposal Sir John consented willingly, not caring to leave his gentle and much-loved boy so soon, after such a trying meeting as that, which he had not alone witnessed between friends of old standing, but in which he modestly and sympathetically joined. Ugh. God, I hate how convoluted this is. All the past gravity which marred Sir John Dunfern's mirth and usefulness, and which he kept attracted to one common centre, crept from its crazy cell on this evening. As soon as dinner was over, the President and Sir John retired to a room of seclusion, and the intense grief it gave the trodden and blighted messenger of... what?
Relief, not grief.
Oh. Oh, the intense relief it gave the trodden and blighted messenger of manhood to at last have a friend in whom he could confide. No one could half imagine. For fully 5 hours, both sat talking confidentially to each other and sympathizing when necessary, and it was only during this conversation that Sir John was first made acquaint either of his wife's marriage with Oscar or her present abode, neither of which in the President's estimation moved the husband of treachery in its most mischievous form much.
It's... So... He could have done this ages ago. Mm-hmm. He could have reached out to this professor and hashed it out years ago, really.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He just got more and more miserable.
Because he's a pathetic fish baby.
So there didn't have to be all this, like, sadness and emotion and heartfelt... He could have just talked to this guy ages ago. Or just fucking moved on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, you know, he's got enough money to get himself a therapist, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, the study of psychology will have been new, granted.
Still. The news of his wife being Mrs. Otwell instead of the honorable name of her conduct ordered her to bury. What? Instead of the honorable name her conduct ordered her to bury. Okay.
So I guess, like, her conduct is possessing her rather than her making her own choices, you know?
Yeah. Only served to cast forever the gentle words of practical remembrance Sir John had in his last will and testament concerning her into an unknown chasm. Until now, the forgiving husband, the meek adviser, the patient sufferer... Wait,
what? Forgiving husband? The forgiving husband who fucking imprisoned her for a year?
I know.
And never once met with her? Spoke to her?
Yeah. The wounded knight... Oh, shut up! The once attached partner, the loving father, and the son of justice, gratitude, and chastity, was ready to share a little of his ransom with her whom he thought he may have probably wronged by too rigorous punishment. Yeah, no shit! But President O'Sullivan, whose well-guided words and fatherly advice had on this evening so sealed the mind of forgiveness with the wax of disinterested intent that Sir John, on his arrival home, ordering his will to be at once sent for solicitors, Messrs. Hutchinson and Harper, and ordering his will to be produced, demanded there and then that the pen of persuasion be dipped into the ink of revenge and spread thickly along the paragraph of blood-related charity to blank the intolerable words that referred to the woman he was now convinced beyond doubt had braved the bridge of bigamy. Some slight alterations in consequence were necessary to be made, and these being righted, the will of Sir John Dunford remained a prisoner until released on the day of execution, which as yet could not possibly be named.
Oh my god, it took him until now to write her out of his will? He sucks!
Wow.
This is so fatiguing.
That's chapter 15. Wow. That is really bad.
Her idioms are getting on my fucking tits.
Yeah.
Like, her describing things, like, multiple times as the X of Y, the X of Y, the X of Y. And, you know the problems that the thing that you, like, kept losing your fucking shit about? The whole pronoun who, the him who thing, rather than just, like, saying what the fucking thing is.
Yeah.
It's like, that's wearing on my fucking patience, too.
See, didn't I tell you it's horrible? Ugh. And I love how she's like, oh, the this of that, the this of that, but it's like a literal pen and ink and paper.
Like, it's not metaphorical, but she's treating it as though it is. I hate it so much. God.
It's just, and again, like, she has no sense of, like, dramatic structure at all. No sense of flow or pacing, again. Like, it's particularly, like... Because you can make that interesting. That's just it. You can make, you know, the alteration of a will dramatic and interesting to read. But it's just... It's... Even, like, academic journals, like, have more flow to them than this. Like, this just, like Amanda just, like, writes and then just fucking stops, and that's a chapter.
Yeah. And it's like, it'd be one thing if this were just some serialized bullshit, but like, this is a fucking novel. You don't get to do that.
Oh god, I just like skimmed ahead and fucking chapter 16 looks like a fucking doozy.
Why don't we do that one next week then? And we can do 16 and 17 and then 18 and 19. I wanted to do 19 by itself, but we don't have to.
Okay, well, we can figure out, because we've been going on for like 45 minutes already.
Okay,
so,
yeah,
like,
so we've pretty much hit time.
Yeah, because like, if we keep continuing at this rate, like,
we'll be at an hour and a half.
Yeah, and
this is only an hour-long podcast.
And
so.
yeah, and quite frankly, it's like 20 to midnight. I don't want to read this book any more than I have to.
Yeah. Okay. This is so bad. It's amazing.
So, to summary, let's review the events of this chapter.
Nobody seems to know that divorce exists.
No. I mean, it's a bit hard because, like, you know, John Dunfern drove Irene Iddesleigh to leave and escape.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, he could divorce her legally.
Do both parties not have to be present?
No.
Okay. I am kind of curious as to how...
Not if the man's doing it.
Oh yeah, of course, because men...
Yeah.
I am kind of curious as to how the professor knows all this shit, though, about...
I know.
Like, we've got no... Like, does he have contacts in the States?
My thinking is that Oscar probably told him because he didn't know that he was a backstabbing dickhead.
Ah, okay. Well, probably, but we weren't explicitly told that, so that's something we have to
Yeah.
kind of think about ourselves.
But O'Sullivan's a fucking snitch, basically.
Yeah.
He a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, I think yeah. I'm getting vague recollections, but on it, like, even if I'm wrong about what I remember about this book, it still doesn't matter. This book's a fucking train wreck.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Oh god, I'm starting to get tired of. But one thing we learned, most important of all, Irene Iddesleigh has a face.
Yeah, like it's
shit. This whole time I thought she was just a hand, but I guess not.
Yeah, it's like it took us like 15 fucking chapters to get an explicit, detailed description of her.
Yeah.
Like, which admittedly was clumsy and bad, and would have been better done by, like, you know, peppering details as they become relevant to the writing. But as it is, it's just suddenly like, oh, looking at a portrait, look at this treacherous bitch who ruined my life.
Not even that. Not even looking at a portrait. Looking at his son.
Yeah.
So he's just like, oh, I can't even look at you without seeing her face. You pathetic man. What is this?
So despite, like, Amanda McKittrick Ross, like, sympathizing with John Dunfern at every fucking turn.
I know! It's so bad.
You know,
it's like, she's like, oh, and then he did this and that deplorable thing.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up!
You know, like, what did it call him? It called him like a knight.
Fucking wounded knight.
Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, you're a real, like, man of valor, like locking up your fucking wife in.
I know. So bad.
You know, and then like abusing his child by, like, controlling how he gets educated. You know,
and controlling how he gets to socialize with people during his education.
Yeah.
Away from home.
Yeah, like, if my... Like, I'm quite lucky that despite my parents being religious, they didn't try and limit my relations with... Yeah, my like, relations? Friendships. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
It's late. My friendships with, you know, like, girls, for example, because that could have been a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
You know, but they, like, understood that, you know, if I'm going to survive in this world, I have to, like, live like a normal person, you know?
Mm.
You know, and that means getting along with everyone, you know. Because if you treat people like they're gonna like fuck at any moment, you know, that's gonna give them ideas.
They're gonna, yeah, basically. Ugh, gross.
So like, too long didn't read. We did read it.
Yeah.
But
for
Rachel Hyde.
For those of you who got lost, Rachel Hyde is gone forever somewhere, and no one cares
because she was a naughty
Tom
girl.
died of a stroke.
Yeah.
And that put Sir John into some kind of horrible hemorrhagic illness.
For some reason.
For some reason.
For plot
because
reasons.
He's a piece of shit. And then he sent his son off to school.
Yeah.
And limited his freedom severely. And then was like, "Oh, you remind me of my treacherous old wife. Oh no, I'm dying."
And then John Dunfern had the first friend he's ever had in Dr. O'Sullivan.
Yeah, who's a snitch.
By, like, actually talking about his emotions and feelings with him instead of his fucking wife when he had the luxury of it.
I know.
You know.
So bad. And he finally wrote her out of his will.
Yeah, that was the dramatic ending to that chapter.
I know!
God, I'm so pissed. Well, and like, I'm trying to think how much time has passed because, like, how old is this kid now? Like, you think,
like, 16?
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. It's just, how do you make 16 seconds pass so quickly and still make it so fucking boring?
Do you mean 16 years?
What?
16 years.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said seconds.
What? Okay, yeah, sorry, I misspoke. Like I said, it's late. It's just as well we're not doing the next chapter. So yeah, that is chapter 15 of Irene Iddesleigh by Amanda McKittrick Ross.
Yeah, so next time we're going to do chapters 16 and 17. And
they'll be a real fucking doozy, so get ready for like a bumper episode.
Yeah, because we're going to get back on schedule.
Yeah, buddy.
Alright. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us on YouTube and on the Internet Archive. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, tell your mother, tell your isolated 16-year-old son away at school.
Oh, and be sure to tell your estranged wife, like, in New York, who married a fucking tutor.
Yeah. And, yeah, have a good time. See you next week.
Bye.